Hello, Da Vinci. Welcome back. This is our 28th of the 1st, 2021, Arithmetic for Maths. We've got our challenge one side, our challenge two side. I've got my trusty ruler. Let's get going. Pause the video, get yourself ready, get your pencil and your paper. Let's go. So, for 13 add 5. 13 add 5. Haven't got 13 fingers. Cannot do that with my fingers. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start from 13 here. So I'll make you a little bit bigger so you can see my ruler. Here we go. 13 right there. I'm going to add on 5. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. The answer is 18. 18. So writing in here 1 and 8. 18. Give yourself a tick. 17, take away 6. Starting from 17 on my ruler, jump back 6 places. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. The answer is 11. There we go. Tick. 21, add 8. 21, add 8. So if we find 21 here, and we're going to add 8. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Oh, really close to the end of our ruler. It's 29. So let's add in our answer, 29. Look how much better my handwriting is with this fancy new thing that I've got. Right, here we go. We've got something, add something, it's 26. Finger on 26. Boom, there we go. Then what we're going to do is we're going to choose any number before 26 because of adding, which means we're going to make something from this side, adding this amount more to get to 26. So we're going to choose any number before 26. I'll close my eyes and I'm going to go 11. So from 11. So if I write in 11, here we go, 11. Challenge myself. So from 11, I'm going to add however many until I get to 26. So I'm going to keep going until I get to 26. So 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 15. And 15 equals 26. Spot on. Right, let's move over to challenge two side. Now, obviously, there's lots of answers that you could have had for your challenge one extension, and there's just a few that I've gone through there. You could even have done something like 26 add 0, and then let's find our pattern. 25 add 1, 24 add 2, 23 add 3. Extend my page. 24 add, oh my goodness, no, that's the wrong way. 22 going down on this side and add 4 up on this side. 21 on this side, so we're going down. So if this one's going up, after 4 it's going to be, the next pattern is going to be adding 5 equals 26. 20 add, and then what's the next number going to be after we've added 5? It's going to be 6. All of these are potential answers, and I only went up to 20 there, so you can keep going. Let's move on to challenge 2. So from challenge 2, 37 add 24. Starting in here, 37 add 24. So here we go. 7 add 4. 7 add 4. I'm going to count in my head. 7 in my head. Count up 4 more fingers. 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. So my answer is 11. Now, just like yesterday, we split 11 up into 10. Ooh, that's a 10, 0. And split it into 1. So my 1's going to cross that out because it's going to go on this side here. Now my 10's going to go over into the 10 side. But remember, this number 3 isn't actually just a 3. It's part of being 30. So if this 10's going to go into this side, we need to get rid of that 0 because it's going to cross over. So now it's going to be 1 onto this 3. Now I can't put it in front because that makes it 13, and then that would be a big, big number. We're not going to do that. What we're going to do is we're going to add in the 1 to this side. So the 3 changes by adding 1 more 1 and becomes 2, 4. 4 add 2, 6. The answer is 61. Spot on. Right. Rub out all that. Boom, gone. Right, next one. 4 lots of 3. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4 groups, and there is 3 in each group. There we go. It's also like saying 3, add 3, add 3, add 3 equals. It's also like saying 4 lots of 3 equals. So all of those are exactly the same way of writing this one question, and the answer is going to be 12 because I've got 12 altogether. Something add something is 21. For this, I'm going to use my ruler. I'm going to put my finger on, sorry, I said something add something is 21. The question is 14 add something is 21. Put my finger on 14, and I'm going to add on until I get to 21. So finger on 14, finger on 21. I'm going to count up from 14. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. My answer is 7. 14 add 7 is 21. Now I'll let you into a little secret. I know my 7 times tables, and I know that this 7 and I know that 14 are both in the 7 times tables. So it is just like this question is saying 2 lots of 7, add another lot of 7, which is a little bit like saying 7 add 7 add 7 equals 21. That is another way of writing this question because I know that 14 is in my 7 times tables. Now, I'm not expecting you to know your 7 times tables yet. It's just a little extension that I thought I'd share. Now, this one is an interesting one. Now, yesterday we looked at one method. I'm going to rub this out just below so we can go through this one next. We looked at one method of working this out. Now, I just chose a random number before this answer, and then I added up to get to this answer. Mrs. Gabella, with her amazing maths brain, has decided to work out how many different variants to work this out, because we were having a conversation yesterday and we said we wouldn't really know where to start on how to show the same type of pattern that this extension over here has, because you can start from 26 and you can add 0, and then you could do 25 and add 1, and 24 and add 2. Well, for this one, you'd have to go 31, add 0, add 0. Then you could do 30, add 1, add 0. The 29, add 1, add 1. 29, add 2, add 0. 28, add 1, add 2. 28, add 2, add 1. You could do 28, add 3, add 0. There are lots of ways that you can work this out. Now, Mrs. Gabella, with her amazing maths brain, in her video, she's shown you every way that you can work out this one question by showing you all the different patterns that you can do using this. It's very funny to see how many, because she's used 3 different flip chart pieces of paper. So if you want to have a look at that, Mrs. Gabella's video will show you all those different methods. But what is really important about this is that they're all patterns, just like this one. As you adding 0 and 0, and then you've added 1 and 0, and then 1 and 1, this number's going down and these numbers are going up. But remember, whatever's coming off the 31, so if you've got down to 29, you still need 2 to get to 31. So you need to split that to either if it's a 2 and a 0, or a 1 and a 1, or a 0 and a 2. It still needs to make up that final answer. One thing that is really important is it does not matter if this first question that I wrote down here as 31, add 0, add 0, I could have written it down as 0, add 0, add 31 equals 31. And that's because it's that special word that we use called commutative. And if it's commutative, it means that it does not matter which way around the numbers are, it still ends up being the same answer. So good job coming along to that very, very tricky arithmetic. Let's see whether we can keep up that speed with our lesson now. We're learning something new today. It's called, can I use arrays can I use an array to make a multiplication sentences? Today we're going to be looking at arrays, and we're going to be making multiplication sentences from these arrays. Now, we don't know what arrays are, so let's learn what they are. So it says here, this is an array of oranges. In an array, objects are placed in a particular order or sequence. So they're placed very specifically, which means you don't have one orange over here on its own. You don't have one orange down here on its own. They're all in order in lines, okay? So, and we call them rows and columns. Now, what's a row and a column? Well, a row is when you've got things sat next to each other going across. So you've got just like in school, when we sit in a row, it's when things are sat next to each other, okay? So in school, we sit in rows, don't we? We sit one person next to the other person. You're sat beside them going across. Now, a column is where the objects of people are placed in lines going up or down, okay? So for example, a column, for column addition, we go down, adding the columns up. So if I take you back to my first slide of arithmetic, you can see here my column addition, I've got it split into columns and we add going down, okay? So columns going down or up, going up or down, and rows going across, okay? So let's move on to this one here. We're going to look at making our times table sentences, making a multiplication sentence. So first we're going to count the number of rows, okay? So rows, remember rows go across. So if I get my pen and I'm going to go across, I'm going to circle round. There is one row. You can see that they're all sat next to each other. That's my one row. And then I've got another row here where they're all sat next to each other on a different row. So if you imagine at school, this is one line of chairs and this is another line of chairs where people are sat on. So you can be on the first row or you could be on the second row. So we can see here, we've got one row, we've got two rows. So I'm going to write in, I've got two rows. Now, how many have I got in each of those rows? Well, I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So I've got 5. Okay, so it's 2 lots of 5. 2 lots of 5. So I can count in my 5s, I can count in my 2s. So I'm going to count in my 2s, it says 2 lots of 5s. So I'm going to count in my 5s actually. So it's going to be 5, 10. So 2 lots of 5 is 10. Now, this is not the only way you can work this out, because we said that we were talking about arrays being columns and being rows. Now, we've just looked at rows where they were going across. Can you remember how we think about columns? Columns were going down, weren't they? Going up or down. So here we go. Let's have a look at columns. So this is what we call a column. Now you can see they're still next to each other, but they're next to each other up and down rather than next to each other side to side or across. So here we go. We've got, instead of 2 rows, we're going to look at the columns here. And those are the ones going up and down, remember? So the columns, how many columns do we have? Well, we've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 columns. So that's my first number this time. 5 columns. 5 lots of, and how many have I got in each one? 1, 2. So I've got 5 lots of 2. So what's my answer then? I've got 5 lots of 2 now. So now I'm going to count in my 2s. Okay, 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. So the answer again is 10. Now this is just like our arithmetic, and when we have our repeated addition, It's commutative. You can swap these round and it's going to equal the same number because it's the times. It's a multiplication. 2 lots of 5 is the same as 5 lots of 2. Now there's 2 ways I showed you to work it out there. You could look at your rows or you could look at your columns. Okay, let's look at another example, shall we? So here we go. Let's try this array. We've got, oh, let me move my face. We're going to try and make 2 multiplication sentences. So let's do, it looks different now. It looks different from this one. This one was going side to side. So this one's going quite tall now. So let's check. So let's do rows first. Now rows are going across, remember. So how many rows do we have? We've got 1, 2, 3, 4. I've got 4 rows. And how many are in each row? How many are in each row? 1, 2. I've got 2 in each row. So what's that going to equal? I've got 4 lots of 2. 4 lots of 2, which means I've got 4 lots of 2. So I put 4 fingers up and count my 2s. 2, 4, 6, 8. 2, 4, 6, 8. Now, I'm going to leave those rows up. And what I'm going to do is I'm going to get a different pen and just show you that you can now still see the columns even though you've made them into rows. So you can see they've got 1 row, 2 rows, 3 rows, and 4 rows. So I've still got 4 rows. But if I look at my columns now and I do it in red, so my columns, remember, go down, don't they? So I've got 1 column there, and then I've got another column here. So I've got 2 columns and I have 2 lots of, and then how many rows did I say I had? 2 lots of, I had 1, 2, 3, 4 rows. Remember, I had 4 going this way. So there's my 1 row going that way, another row going that way, another row going that way, another row going that way, okay? So I've got 4 rows, and that equals 8 again, because it's commutative. I've just swapped these numbers around. They're the same. I know it looks a little confusing, especially with all of the lines crossing over one another. But all you need to remember is columns up and down, rows going across. Okay, let's do another one together. Oh, let's go on to this one. Here we go. Starting off, let's look at which one do you fancy? Do you fancy rows first? Should we do rows? Let's do rows then. Okay, let's go across. Rows are going across. 1 row, got 1 there. And then there's another row. 2 rows, and then let's check. Oh, there's another row. 3 rows. 3 rows. So my first number is going to be 3 lots of, and how many is in each row? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I've got 5 in each row. Just counted like that. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 in each row. So 3 lots of 5. Now I can count in my 5s. I could even do 5, start from 5 and do jumps of 5. So 5, 10, 15. My answer is going to be 15. Now the other way that you could look at it is you could, let's get another color pencil so that you can see our columns now. Let's use a super blue, I reckon. So let's do columns. So going this way, 1. And going down, 2. How many columns do you reckon we have? 3. 4. And then the last one, 5. You've got 5 columns. So we could do 5 lots of, and then what's our next? How many's in each one? Well, we've got here 1, 2, 3. 3. Remember, we've just swapped those numbers round. It's exactly the same amount that's inside as the amount of rows that we've got. Remember when we did our rows going this way, we had one there, we had another one here, and we had another one here. So we can see in black pen, I've done my rows and I've got 3 rows. There's my 3 and there's my 3. And then in blue pen, I've gone down, that's my columns. I've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 columns, and there's my 5, and there's my 5. I've just swapped them around, which means the answer to this one, 5 lots of 3. I don't know my 3 times tables, but it's okay because I know my 5 times table, and I knew that 3 lots of 5 is 15, so 5 lots of 3 must also be 15. Super job. Let's put one more. Here's another one. Let's do our rows. Our rows in the color black. We've got 1 row and we've got another row. So 1, 2. I've got 2 rows. 2 lots of what? And how many's in each row? 1, 2, 3. 2 lots of 3. 2 lots of 3. Oh, I could count in my 3s. Or I could put 3 fingers up and then put another 3 fingers up. Remember doubling. So 3 fingers on this side, 3 fingers on this side. I've got 6. Okay. So my answer is going to be 6. Now let's look at the columns and see whether we got the same answer. I'm going to do it in green this time. Oh, let's do it in blue because I'm keep it the same as last time. There we go. So this time I'm going to do my columns. So there's 1 column. There's 2 columns. And there's my 3rd column. 3. Now, how many is in each group? 1, 2. 2 equals, so you can see in the black, I've done my rows going across, and there's 3 in each row. And my columns going down, there is 2 in each column. 2 lots of 3 or 3 lots of 2. Well, I know I've worked out this answer, so it must be the same. It's going to be 6. Super job. Right, it's your turn now. I want you to try and do these multiplication sentences using the arrays below. So challenge 1, you've got 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3. Okay, so you need to remember you've got in your black pencil, if you've got a black pencil, well, if you've got your black pencil at home, you've got your rows this way. And then if you have another pencil at home like I used, it might help you to then show yourself where the columns are as well. And then use this to help you write your multiplication sentence. Now, if you're not sure what that is, remember that's what we wrote here. These are the multiplication sentences, okay? So there's your first question for you to do. Here's your second one. Question 2, you make the 2 multiplication sentences. So you need to write down both the sentences. So I've written down one there, and I've written down another one there. You need to write down both. There should always be 2, okay? So there's your other one. Challenge 2, here's your multiplication first challenge, and you need to write 2 multiplication sentences down, your first array. And question 4 is your second array, okay? Question 5, but for challenge 3, here's your array. That looks like a challenging one. And question 6, can you make 2 multiplication sentences from the array below? That is my question to you. Listen carefully to what I'm saying because I might try and trick you on this one. So listen carefully. Can you make 2 multiplication sentences from the array below? That might be a yes or no question. And if you think so, explain why. Extension. How many different arrays can you make drawing 12 cubes? Or how many different arrays can you draw? So how many can you draw using 12 cubes? So for example, I've said I could have, let's do, I'm going to just change my color of my pen so I don't confuse anyone. So I could say I've got 1, 2, 3. Oops, I hit the end of my tablet there, sorry. 3 rows, and I could then say I've also then got for each row. I could look down and I've got 1, 2, 3, 4. So I've got 3 rows, 4 columns. 3 times 4 is 12. What is another way that you could show me, and how many different ways can you show me? I look forward to seeing you work on tapestry. No, it's a new concept. I know this will be a bit of a longer video, but I wanted to make sure I go through it really clearly. Thank you very much, Da Vinci. I'll see you in the next video. Goodbye.